What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC. And we're back, another UFC event, the final UFC event before the White House card. And we have UFC Vegas 118. I believe we're on 118 now. It's crazy how it sneaks up on us. We got a couple of fun fights on this card. I know it's going to fly under the radar. Bilal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim isn't necessarily the most enticing main event, but it is the number 5 and number 11 ranked welterweights, which is good. You also have the number 4 ranked middleweight in action, Brendan Allen. Fair Zayam is a top lightweight prospect. Bryce Mitchell's in action, one of the top light heavyweight prospects. Iwo Baranowski. You get a lot of fun matchups on this card, and we're going to be previewing, I should better say, if I can use grammar, all 12 matchups and giving my predictions. And last week we did okay, 7-5, and nailed some of the bigger fights on UFC Macau. And we're just waiting for that White House card. All right, it's about just about over 10 days, I'd say, from taking place, and I'm pumped for it. But also on today's episode, we have some new UFC fights to bring to your attention. And of course, the World Cup is going on, so I'm going to give my thoughts on what I think is going to take place in the World Cup from someone who literally knows nothing about soccer. I know Ronaldo, Messi, and Neil Kennedy. That's a TikTok joke if anyone gets it. But kicking off today's episode, as usual, I mean, you should just expect this by now. New UFC fights. We have a number of them. Number of new UFC fights have been announced, so let's discuss it. So kicking us off, starters, one of the bigger ones, UFC Abu Dhabi, the co-main event, July 25th, is Umar Nurmagomedov versus David Martinez. That's going to be the number 2 and number 9 in the division. And Umar, after losing to Merab last year in one of my favorite title fights, he went out and defeated Mario Bautista to end the year in a dominant fashion, and then defeated Davison Figueiredo earlier this year, but it was just boring. Now, I will say he utterly destroyed him, but his lack of finishing did not earn him a title shot. And Umar has gone out. He's defeated 2 tough guys, but they're throwing another young gun at him. Dave Martinez is quietly gone 3-0 in the UFC, including wins over Rob Font and Marlon Vera. Very impressive. And David is just looking to keep climbing the rankings. I will say you could expect Umar to probably grapple him the entire contest. That's what I think is going to take place. These two are pretty similar in age. Umar turned 30 this year, and Dave Martinez turns 28, I believe, or does he turn? I think he turns 28 in August, so we'll see what takes place, but Dave Martinez, good luck to you. As for Umar, he's still hunting the winner of Merab versus Petr Yan 3, whenever that takes place, hopefully in August. On that same night, you will get, in the main event, in the light heavyweight division, Magomed Ankalaev versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. Magomed Ankalaev hasn't fought since losing to Alex Barrett in their rematch, but he's back, the number 1 ranked light heavyweight, hungry for a win. And as for Khalil Roundtree Jr., unfortunately was knocked out by Jiri to end the year. He's looking to bounce back after defeating Jamal Hill last year as well. So we'll see what takes place, but I don't know the state of either of these guys. So I'm very curious to see what happens. Both of them were knocked out in their last matchup. Magomed worse than Khalil, but hey, we'll see what takes place. It's a fantastic main event and a fantastic co-main event. The Abu Dhabi cards rarely disappoint unless Tom Aspinall is in the main event. Also going down on that card, a little flyweight action. Steve Erceg, ranked at number 10, takes on the unranked Ramazan Temuriyov. They are testing Steve Erceg here in Ramazan. He's only had 2 fights in the UFC. He's defeated CJ Vergara and Charles Johnson. He also is only, I want to say, 29. I believe he's only 29 years old. So we'll see if Ramazan can get it done. He's from Uzbekistan. And as for Steve Erceg, he just went out there and defeated, was it Tim Elliott? I think his last contest. Yeah, Tim Elliott. So should be a good matchup. Steve Erceg, Ramazan Temuriyov will probably be on the main card right below the 2 fights we just discussed. Another matchup for you. This one for Serbia in UFC Belgrade, August 1st. Mark Vologdin back at it, the Russian man who, unfortunately lost his UFC debut, but, this dude's an absolute warrior. Actually, he had a draw. Who did he fight? Mark Vologdin had a draw against someone earlier this year. Oh my goodness, it's evading me. But he takes on Josias Musasa, fellow heavy hitter, but Josias is 0-2 in the UFC. So both these guys looking to get their first UFC wins. Both of them are young. Mark Vologdin I'm very heavy on. He so far had a fantastic matchup on Dana White's Contender Series Season 9 and also in his UFC debut. So I think it was against John Castaneda. If I'm not mistaken, was it John Castaneda, the Minneapolis guy? I don't know. We'll have to double check that. But as for Josias, that boy has no grappling. So, because Josias has lost to I think it was the guy who, oh my goodness, I can picture him, who lost to Alexander Topiary in his debut at UFC 312. I think it was that guy. His name's evading me. And he also lost to a really bad bum. So we'll have to see what happens, but that fight is going down at UFC Serbia. Another one for you on that Serbian card. Nikolija Milosevic, the Queen Beast, will be making her UFC debut. She is 8-1. She's a finishing machine out of Serbia, and they're giving Haley Cowan to her. And Haley Cowan is 0-3 in the UFC, which tells me they are just trying to set up Nikolija for a victory. This is in the women's bantamweight division, and we need women's bantamweights. It is one of the most dead divisions. It's been dead for a long time. Second to last matchup to inform you about Abdul Hussein stepping in to make his debut. The 15-2 Palestinian, Lebanese, Finnish, number of nationalities in this guy. Takes on Muin Gafurev in his debut, who is from Tajikistan. That's going down on that Abu Dhabi card. Abdul Hussein actually does have a win over Tyson Nam, former UFC vet. And as for Muin Gafurev, 2-3 in the UFC, does hold a win over Ringa Nakamura, which is very impressive, as well over Kyung Ho Kang. So we'll see what takes place there. Both of these guys have won belts in other promotions, but I'll be very curious to see how Abdul Hussein does. He appears to be pretty good, but usually you have to get in the octagon to truly prove it. And then the latest matchup, which was dropping today, June the 4th, was King Green versus Terrence McKinney at UFC 329. How about that? Slap that on the main card. Perfect fight for a Conor McGregor Max Holloway event. King Green is coming off of a very good win, I think. Who did he defeat? It wasn't Daniel Zellhuber. He just went out there and defeated someone else. Oh my goodness. King Green, not Lance Gibson Jr. No, King Green's been on a roll. He just knocked someone out. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. I have got to look this up, who King Green just defeated, because, it literally just happened. Maybe my memory will help me. Was it Matt Favola? No, it wasn't Matt Favola. Drew Dober. Those two fought a while ago. Oh, my goodness. Here we go, guys. Jeremy Stevens. Yeah, he submitted Jeremy Stevens at UFC 328. So, coming in off a big win. Happy to see that matchup taking place. And as for Terrence McKinney, he's also been on a roll. It's kind of crazy he holds a win over Fair Zayam. We're going to mention him later on the episode, but just absolutely crazy. Terrence McKinney, I believe, just knocked out Kyle Nelson the last time they fought, if I'm not mistaken. Was that the last Terrence McKinney fight? I don't freaking know, but hey, maybe we'll cover that later. So, lots of fun fights. Actually, we can just look up right now who Terrence McKinney's last win was. Terrence McKinney, it was Kyle Nelson, in March. So, both these guys, red hot, red hungry, and whoever wins this, I'm going to be honest, they're getting a ranked opponent. All right, bottom of the lightweight division. A lot of movement going to be taking place there. Beneil Dariush at 15, Farzam at 14, Michael Chandler at 13, Cleveland Sakyat at 12, Rafael Fiziev 11. There's going to be a lot of movement in there as the year rolls along. So stay tuned. A lot of fun fights. Everything I've gone over are all the new updates that have dropped over the last few days. And I'll tell you what else is dropping out here soon, and that is the World Cup, or kicking off, I should say, since they kicked the ball all around. So World Cup kicks off, I believe, I want to say today. No, it's a week. It's a week from today. I believe it's, June 11th. June 11th, Thursday, it gets going. Mexico versus South Africa, and Korea Republic versus Czechia. So, as for the bracket, there's no official bracket yet, but as we all know, there are 16 teams that advance out of 32. Then it goes to the final 8, then to the final 4, then the championship. And they actually have a third place game. Fun fact for you. And I could go over how it works out, for example, whoever takes first in Group E will take on whoever takes third out of Group A, B, C, D, and F. So there's a lot that goes into it, but just to list to you guys, I wonder if they have the match schedule on the FIFA website. I would hope they do. Just to list to you the groups here. So out of every group, there will be, I believe, 2 teams. I think that's the simplest way to really break it down. There's 104 games. Wow. Take that, March Madness, let me tell you. And here is your FIFA World Cup 2026 for the group stage, then the knockout stage. So you got Mexico, South Africa, Korea Republic, and Chechnya in that first bracket. Little early thoughts. Easily Mexico. They always advance. And honestly, I'm getting the vibe that Korea Republic might make it. I don't know. Something about Korea making it to at least the knockout stage. That's what I'm kind of feeling. Next up, Stage B, Canada, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Qatar, and Switzerland. Bosnia and Herzegovina is one country, by the way. Going to go with Canada and Switzerland. Although, it would be cool to see Qatar. I think Qatar, did they host in 2022? I feel like they did. But, Swiss I really like. And for Canada, I feel like they always kind of make it through. Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. Brazil and Morocco. I think Brazil, Mexico, Portugal, Argentina, those are always going to be teams that you always just kind of shoot right through. And obviously, we'll throw in Morocco. Although Scotland winning would be kind of fun. For Group D, you got USA, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. And from what I hear, Paraguay's a lock. USA and Australia is going to be the battle for the other team. So obviously we're going to go with USA, but Australia and Turkey should be a battle, but Paraguay is always good at soccer. It's just one of those nations. All right, so we'll send USA and Paraguay through there. Germany, Morocco, Côte d'Ivoire. I believe Côte d'Ivoire is Ireland. I don't know why it's spelled Côte d'Ivoire. Am I missing something here or something? Is this in a different language? I legit have no idea. Let me actually scroll down here a bit. Côte d'Ivoire. What the frick does this mean? It's literally Irish. It's literally Ireland. Did Ireland rename their country? I got no freaking clue. This is weird. This actually, they're labeled as Côte d'Ivoire. I'm not even going to Google it, but no, just let you know that's weird. And then Ecuador. We'll go Germany and Ecuador because I don't know what's up with Ireland. Why are they labeled as that? Group F, the F group, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. We're going to go Netherlands and, Sweden. We'll go Sweden. Maybe Japan. Japan and Korea, you can't have too many Asian teams. They don't always make it. So I will give Sweden and Netherlands the nod because I do love Sweden. And I know some people from the Netherlands. That's a lie. I know UFC fighters, not personally. Group G on the other side, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. So I'm going to go Belgium, and we're going to go Egypt. Belgium and Egypt. Belgium is always a team that I feel advances. And you know what? I like Belgium. They mentioned Belgium and Austin Powers, and I love Austin Powers. Group H, Uruguay, Spain, Cabo Verde, and Saudi Arabia. It's Spain and Uruguay. That locks, let me tell you. Spain and Uruguay always make it through. France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway in Group I. Give me France and Senegal. Norway might be good. I don't know anything about Iraq, but definitely France. They always do well in Senegal. You got to at least send a couple African teams through. Group J, Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Definitely locking in Argentina, and we'll also send Austria through. Because I don't know how good Algeria is, but I could maybe get behind Algeria advancing out of the Group J, but, it's up in the air. K group, Portugal, the Congo, Dominican Republic, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. Well, it's Portugal and Colombia, but I do love seeing Uzbekistan representing up there, a nation known for their MMA fighters. So good job to them. But yeah, Portugal and Colombia will send through. And for Group L, the final group, England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Going to be fantastic. Got to send England and Croatia as I am part Croatian, and England always appears to win. So, going to be fun. A lot of the games are taking place all over the United States and North America. We got games in Mexico City, Guadalajara, Montevideo. We got games in Houston, Dallas, Miami, Atlanta, Kansas City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Vancouver, Seattle, Boston, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Toronto. So all over, lots of fun stuff. Not really going to try and break down like the bracket of who I think is going to win, but to just pick someone to win it all. And this comes from someone who doesn't know a lick about the World Cup. So let's just we're just going to process of elimination everyone I've picked, so that way we can just narrow it down. So out of Group A, I had Mexico and Korea. I'll send Mexico. Out of Group B, I had Canada and Switzerland. We'll send Canada. Out of Canada and Mexico, I'll send Mexico. Then we have Brazil, and we'll send Brazil through. And then we'll send Germany. I'll send Germany through, and then Brazil and Germany. We'll go Brazil. Brazil and Mexico, Brazil. Then I've got Netherlands. I'll send Netherlands through. Netherlands versus, I didn't send USA through. Netherlands versus USA. Gosh, I don't even know. Netherlands or the USA. I'll send the USA through, but I don't have the USA winning. I think Brazil, I could see in the championship. On the other side, Belgium versus Spain, Uruguay. I'll send Spain through. France is good, though. France or Spain? Who do we go with? Probably France. Argentina, I don't know. It is the final year of Ronaldo, I'm pretty sure. So maybe I'll just send Portugal through for the heck of it. But also Colombia is really good. I also do like rooting for England. I don't even know who the favorites are. Do they got like a sports book or something? Let's look up World Cup betting odds. That'll help us. I mean, we might as well spend a little bit of time. Since, we always go through, MMA on here, so might as well mix it up with a little bit of that FIFA soccer. Okay, here we go. Who is it? USA, Mexico, and Canada to all win their groups. $10 pays $129. Okay, the best odds to win as of Thursday at 2 p.m., June the 4th, is going to be plus 450 Spain, plus 475 France, plus 700 England, plus 900 Portugal, same for Brazil, plus 900, same for Argentina, plus 900. Everyone after that is plus 1,000. USA is plus 6,000, and the worst odds is Jordan at plus $250,000. That is utterly insane. So look at anyone I sent through that was lower. South Africa is plus 100,000. That's crazy. South Korea plus 40,000. These odds are ridiculous on DraftKings here. So Spain, France, England, and Portugal, all the favorites, also along with Brazil and Argentina. Germany at plus 1,400 I really like. I do enjoy that. They've won before. But I'm going to say it's kind of the year of the Frenchman. PSG just won. Wembanyama is hunting for that ring. Not the ring, but actually you get a ring when you win the NBA Finals, right? Well, you get the championship. I'm going to go France. I'm going to say France wins merely because it appears it's the year of the French. My cousin is actually going to school in France. So it's the year of the French. We're going to go with France to win. Will I be actively rooting for them? Not really, but we're just going to put this out here on the pod so it's out there for everyone to know. We are picking France to win the World Cup 2026. Obviously, we want America. At the end of the day, we want America, but I don't know if America is good. So we'll have to see, but in terms of who's good and who's not good, this UFC Vegas card has a lot of people who fall in both of those categories. We have lost some matchups over the last bit. Bryce Mitchell lost his opponent in Victor Henry. Marcus McGee was supposed to fight Jacob Wickelocks. He pulled out. Matt Schnell was supposed to take on Emmanuel Rodriguez. He pulled out. And Iwo Barnowski was supposed to take on Billy Elikana, and he pulled out as well. Now, luckily, all the heavy hitters still remain. We've had some matchups shuffle around. We got 12 matchups for us today, so let's get in there and predict each and every one of them. So, kicking us off, women's strawweight division. Ketlin Esquadatina Souza. What a nickname for Ketlin Souza. She takes on Ariane Sorisoso Carnelosi. Ariana Carnelosi, nickname Soriso. Ketlin is 16-6. Ariane is 15-4. 1 inch in height goes to Ketlin. 2 inches in reach goes to Ketlin. They both fight orthodox. And the favorite is Ketlin Souza at minus 255 plus 210. Ariana Carnelosi is the underdog. We'll start with Ketlin Souza. Ketlin Souza has had a couple fights in the UFC. She's all the way up to 7 now once she fights coming up here. And she already has a victory this year. She defeated Bruna Brazil on February 7th. So good job to her. Fights out of Amazonas, Brazil. 8 wins by knockout, 2 wins by sub, and over 6 losses. She's been finished in 4 of them. She is 3-3 in the UFC and was an absolute killer in Invicta FC. She was a champion over there. But, kind of after coming over, it hasn't really amounted to much success. Lost to Karine Silva in her debut. Picked up 2 wins in 2024. 2025 went 0-2. Both of them split decisions, I'll add, where she lost due to grappling, but was able to get a win over Bruna Brazil. So, Ketlin Souza is the favorite. Hasn't done much, but there's always potential with her to pop off. As for her opponent, Ariana Carnelosi, we're familiar with her. We've seen her fight before. Last time was in November, but I've seen her fight all the way back to 2019. So, Ariana Carnelosi has been around the block. 3 years older. She's from Sao Paulo, Brazil. 9 KOs, 2 subs. Give her 11 and 15 victories by finish. And of her 4 defeats, she's been finished 3 times. She is also 3-3 in the UFC. So, Ariana Carnelosi debut, lost to Angela Hill, was actually TKO'd by Angela Hill, which is absurd. Went out and got 2 finishes in 2021, lost to Lupi Godinez in 2022, took a year off, actually took 2 years off, holy cow, came back and won a DQ over Piero Rodriguez in 2024, and in her lone fight last year was submitted with 24 seconds left. So we are going to go with Ketlin Souza to take this one home. I would hope for a finish. Ketlin Souza finish would be very nice, but hey, with these women fights, you never know. I do think we opened last week's card with a finish, so we'll say Ketlin Souza, who has gotten, what is she known for more? More knockouts than subs. So far in the UFC, she's gotten, one sub. We'll say knockout. We're going to say a TKO for Ketlin Souza, because why the frick not? So, Ketlin Souza over Ari Carlosi to open up the card. After that, women's flyweight division. We're just checking out all kinds of different divisions on this fight night. And it's going to be between Jessela Chavez. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. Jessela Abraba Chavez and Eunice Duban. And Jessela is a minus 400 favorite. Plus 300 is Eunice Duban. They are both 29 years old. Both naturally fight in the women's flyweight division. 2 inches in height and reach both go to Jessela Chavez. Jessela Chavez, will start with her season 9 woman, and she won a very good fight against Sofia Montenegro. Was actually dropped in that contest, but managed to fight her way back. She's a killer, and she fights hard. On a 7-fight winning streak, of course, she's 6-0 professionally and had 1 win in amateur before making the jump. Was actually a champion in the Gomez Fight Championship back in 2024, and of her 6 wins, 3 of them have come by knockout. So, good for her. Tough fighter. These season 9ers from Day 1's Contender Series have been making an impact right from the jump, and I do not doubt that Jessela can be the same. Now, as for our opponent, one of the few Colombians who fight in the UFC, she is from Season 8 of Dana White's Contender Series. Now, unfortunately for Eunice Dubin, her debut didn't go too well. She was knocked out last year in March against Carly Judice with a head kick, and then was later scheduled to fight Kenny Freeman in September, and that bout was canceled. So she has not fought in over a year. But before that, she had been on a roll. 5 wins by knockout, 1 by sub, giving her 100% finish rate. She's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but is actually originally from Venezuela. I got my Colombian and Venezuelan flags mixed up. I'm very sorry, Eunice. I should not have done that. It's not going to stop me from picking against you. Yeah, Jessela Chavez all day. I mean, the odds makers have her up to minus 400. Obviously, lady fights, I always like to think of as good opportunities to make underdog money. But in this case, we're going to go with Jessela Chavez because these season 9 fighters have been ridiculous. After that, finally, some men action as we are in the featherweight division. Featherweights, how lovely. And this one's actually gonna be pretty good, guys. Jordan Leavitt, the Monkey King, takes on Joe Henderson Brito Tubaro is his nickname. Jordan Leavitt 13-3, Joe Henderson 18-5-1. Both of these guys have had multiple fights in the UFC. I'm very familiar with both of their styles. But as for this contest, Jordan is the plus 160 underdog. Joe Henderson is minus 190. Both are 31 years of age. 1 inch in height goes to Jordan. 1 inch in reach goes to Joe Henderson Brito. Neither of these guys have been ranked, but they both had, some opportunities here and there. In terms of Jordan Leavitt, 2-fight winning streak, already picked up a win in February over Yadir Del Valle. And, it's just been a very crazy run for him, and this guy trains out of Syndicate MMA out in Las Vegas. That's where he's from. That's where John Wood's the head coach. It's going to be Merab Dovasheli's gym, Chepe Mariscal, Vince Morales, Brandon Jenkins, Clear Roundtree Jr., Nazim Sneakoff. A lot of notable MMA fighters you've seen as of late train at that gym. 2 KOs and 7 subs, give him 9 of 13 wins by finish. Of his 3 defeats, he's been submitted twice. His total record in the UFC is 6-3. And, he's had some tough opponents. I'll say, Claudio Puelles, for what he was tough. Paddy Pimblett's an obvious one. Chase Hooper, for example, tough opponent. And, it's all about him just kind of find his rhythm, I'll say. This guy has, a very good ground game. Very good ground game for Joanderson Brito, but where we've seen him struggle is just when he, is being reckless. And again, Kurt Holloway last year was calculated, did well. Earlier this year against Yadir Devilel, capitalized on his poor, fight IQ and was able to out-grapple him. So Jordan will need to bring that same energy against Joanderson Brito. And Joanderson Brito, another, multi-fight veteran, also 6-3 in the UFC from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He is coming off a win, thankfully for my boy. 15 out of 18 wins are by finish, which is great to see. And his last fight was on December 13th against Isaac Thompson. Isaac Thompson was a formidable opponent. He did take the fight on short notice, and I think impressed a lot of people with how well he hung around. But, for Joanderson, was out-grappled really poorly last year against Pat Sabatini. Before that, did lose I would say, a very, very bogus, split decision against William Gomez, which did end his win streak. But there's a time, guys. 5 straight wins, all by finish. This guy was a killer. And I saw Sergey Pavlovich turn the tide, and I'm confident Joanderson Brito can do the same. There's a reason going into this that he's listed as the favorite. I don't want to say I dislike Jordan Leavitt, not at all, but I am very high on Joanderson Brito. He's only 31. I still think there's time to turn it around, so I am going to be going with Joanderson Brito to get the victory. I am not dissuaded by his 2 losses to Pat Sabatini and to William Gomez. So give me Joanderson Brito over Jordan Leavitt. Dare I say knockout for the first time in Jordan Leavitt's career. With that, we're back in the women's bantamweight division, my favorite division in the UFC. Oh my goodness. And neither of these women are ranked. I thought they might be ranked, but you never know with these ladies. As Chelsea Chandler takes on Priscilla Cachoeira, the zombie girl. Priscilla is 13-8. Chelsea Chandler is 6-4. Minus 120 for Chelsea, plus 100 for Priscilla. 1 inch in height for Chelsea, 3 inches in reach for Chelsea. They are pretty similar builds, I'll say. Getting up there in age, though. Mid-30s, Priscilla, borderline late 30s, depending how you view 37. And, for Cachoeira, we'll start with her on a 2-fight losing streak, 1-4 in her last 5. It's been a rough run. Been a rough one for the zombie girl. That's why she's the underdog. From Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 8 of her 13 wins are by finish. Of her 8 losses, finished 5 times, 4 by sub. All of her losses have come in the UFC. She's 5-8 in the UFC, not the best. But I'll say, it has been a tough go from the jump for Priscilla. In her debut, she took on Valentina Shevchenko. That tells you all you need to know. Then Molly McCann, Luciana Carolino, went out and got 2 knockouts, submitted by Jillian Robertson, who, by the way, is rumored to be fighting Mackenzie Dern for the belt next. Goes out 2022, fight of the night, then a round 1 knockout, then submitted twice, against Miranda Maverick and Jasmine Jastovicius, 2 tough opponents. Then knocked out Josiane Nunez last year, but then was knocked out by Jocelyn Edwards. Then earlier this year, lost to Claudia Segula in a fight I just don't think she should have lost. I'm not trying to knock Claudia Segula, but just Priscilla Cachoeira was just standing there almost like a punching bag at times. She was throwing back. She landed 99 significant strikes, but still absorbed 151. So Priscilla, gonna need to be on your A game here. All right. She's lost to a lot of top talent. Just to give you an idea of the people she's lost to, currently ranked at number 3 in the women's bantamweight division, Jocelyn Edwards. Currently ranked at number 6 at women's flyweight, Jasmine Jastovicius. Currently ranked at number 5, women's strawweight, Jillian Robertson. And currently the number 1 pound-for-pound women, Valentina Shevchenko. So she's lost to tough competition, and we'll see how she does against Chelsea Chandler. And Chelsea Chandler really isn't any better. I'll say she's from Stockton, California, trains out of that crew, your Diaz crew. Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, on a 2-fight losing streak, 50% finish rate, only been finished once, but, she recently lost in her last matchup to Jocelyn Edwards last year. That was in April, so it has been a year and 2 months since her last fight. Last win was March 2024. That was against Josiane Nunez. Other losses are to Yana Santos and Norma Dumont. So when we really boil it down, her losses are to the number 3, number 4, and number 7 ranked women's bantamweights. I don't know what justice that does for the contest, but hey, I'm gonna maybe go out on a limb here because she's an underdog and say Priscilla Cachoeira gets it done. Really, it boils down to knockout power. Chelsea Chandler hasn't been doing much as of late. I still hope Priscilla's got it, but I've been ride or dying with some of these fighters, and Priscilla Cachoeira, will throw you a bone here. This is a pick 'em, guys. That's why the odds are close, but Priscilla Cachoeira, that's who we'll go with. Then, fun times in men's flyweight. Here we go. Wow, already back at it. Bruno Silva takes on Edgar Chairez, the Bulldog versus the Puro Chacali. Bruno Silva is 15-8-2 with a no contest. Edgar Chairez is 13-6 with a no contest. 3 inches in height for Edgar, 6 inches in reach for Edgar. Both of them fight orthodox. Bruno Silva is 6 years older than Edgar Chairez. And if I'm not mistaken, Bruno Silva is ranked at number 15. And that's right, he is in the rankings at men's flyweight. Very good for him. And yes, Edgar Chairez plus 115, Bruno Silva minus 135. 36 to 30. These two are, the two ends of the spectrum. Bruno Silva has had some very tough fights, and he's come out victorious. Edgar, been able to beat some lesser competition. When the competition got harder, he could not stand the test of time. But Bruno Silva, where to start with this guy? 36, he's quietly, gotten up there to 36. Trains out of Fight Ready MMA out in Phoenix, Arizona. Same gym as Al Gorquin, who recently fought, Amir Albazi, Alatenge, Korean Zombie, Henry Cejudo. A lot of notable guys have trained at that gym. Out of his 15 wins, 6 KOs and 5 subs. He's been finished in 50% of his losses, and he's 5-5 with a no contest in the UFC. Coming off of a split decision loss to Charles Johnson back in March, I think a lot of people were, thinking he won that. I think the correct winner was decided, but it is what it is. Last 2 losses besides that, Joshua Van and Minoke. Okay, both round 3 TKOs. He also did submit Hyung-Sung Park last year. So I think Bruno Silva is a very, very talented fighter. And I think the only thing that could get the better of him is the fact they're in the Apex. I kid you not. I think that's the only thing that could get the better of him. For Edgar Chairez, his opponent, Edgar, is coming into this one with a record of 13-6, 2 straight wins, 3-1 in his last 4. He's been all right. He's been just all right. Trains out of Mexico, but now I think he's, actually he's at Entrom Gym now that I'm remembering. The same gym as, like Michael Morales, the number 1 ranked welterweight. Who else? Andres Luna Martinetti, a top prospect. And, out of his 13 wins, 12 by finish. 8 subs, 4 KOs. Pretty good. 3-2 in the UFC. Now, as of late, this guy ran to Tatsuo Taira in his debut, had a no contest, got a submission, lost to Joshua Van at the Sphere, and then last year submitted CJ Vergara, then earlier this year won a split decision over Felipe Bunez. I think Edgar Chairez, perfectly good fighter, but I'm going with Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is more crafty. Bruno Silva can mix it up there. And in terms of fighting tough opponents, I'll take a guy who just went to a split decision with Charles Johnson over a guy who defeated Felipe Bunez by split decision, if you get my drift. So, going to go with Bruno Silva over Edgar Chairez, maybe by finish. I can definitely see a dominant decision, though. Bantamweight division in the next contest, second to last prelim, I believe, as Marcus McGee takes on John Yanis. It was supposed to be Jacob Wickelox, but hey, it worked out how it worked out, and I think Marcus McGee has taken on an equally tough opponent in John Yanis. Marcus McGee coming into this one, it's coming off the Purion loss, is not it's not going to be easy for him, but I definitely can see him finding success, especially against John Yanis. Now, McGee is a minus 550 favorite. All right, underdog John Yanis plus 400. 1 inch in height for McGee, 1 inch in reach goes to Yanis. Goes back and forth, back and forth. But to start off with McGee, Marcus has been fighting in the UFC since 2023. He's 10-2. His 9-fight winning streak was snapped, unfortunately, by the Purion loss last year. Trains out of the MMA lab. That's going to be the same gym as Benson Henderson, Alex Caceres, Jared Cannonier, Mario Bautista. A lot of killers train there. Out of his 10 wins, 9 finishes, 8 KOs, and 1 sub. And so far, only loss in the last freaking 5 years has come against Piotr Jan. Other than that, he's picked up some good wins. Submitted Journey Nelson, knocked out JP Buys, knocked out Gaston Bolanos, dominated Jonathan Martinez. But, hasn't won now since November 2024. So McGee ready to get going. And mind you, he stole round 1 over Piotr Jan. I think a lot of people forget that he won the first round against Petr Yan. He just couldn't last deep into the third round. So McGee, he's back. He's hungry. This guy is a finishing machine, and he'll be back for one against John Yanis. John Yanis, 31 years old, out of Texas. Good old Southern boy. And, John, he doesn't have a gym listed, but 6 of his 10 wins have come by knockout. Of his 4 losses, twice he's been submitted. So far in the UFC, 1-1. All right, debuted last year against Austin Bashir, submitted pretty easily. Took on Jamie Siraj back at UFC Winnipeg in April and got around 1 TKO. So, John, good for you. He's a Fury FC champion. Actually knocked down Nick Aguirre last year to win that belt. Good for him. He's fought in Cameron Smotherman. Actually lost to him. Fun fact, Cameron Smotherman, who just fought last weekend against Kaya Sakura. We know little about him. He's had some good wins here and there, but, with seeing what I did for Marcus McGee, I'm definitely going to be picking Marcus. I will, a guy who wins around over Petr Yan is very impressive. And the fact that Petr Yan actually got a title fight after beating him tells me all I need to know. So, as for John, he's fought tough guys, but nowhere near as tough as the guys that your boy, Marcus McGee has fought. So, Marcus McGee, gonna go knockout. I'm ready. I'm itching for a knockout from Marcus. I know he's been on the submission train, but we'll go knockout by Marcus Maniac McGee. Next up, back at men's flyweight as Matt Schnell, plus 350, takes on Alessandro Costa, who's up to minus 550. Oh my gosh, I did not realize he climbed the rankings that much. Or not the rankings, he swelled to that big of a favorite. Okay, do your thing, Alessandro Costa. Now, as for this matchup, Matt Schnell is coming in 17-10 with a no contest professionally. Alessandro 15-5. 4 inches in height will go to Matt Schnell, along with 3 inches in reach. They both fight orthodox. Matt Schnell is 6 years older than Alessandro Costa. So for Matt Schnell, this guy floated in and out of the UFC rankings at flyweight. Has had an interesting run, 7-8 with a no contest in the UFC. So a lot of losses, might I add. 11 of his 17 wins by finish, 9 out of his 10 losses he's been finished in. 5 times by knockout, 4 times by sub. Fights out of Shreveport, Louisiana, and was supposed to take on Emmanuel Rodriguez, who was a top prospect. Instead, Alessandro Costa stepping in. Now, as of late, Matt Schnell lost to Joseph Morales last year, defeated Jimmy Flick. 2024, lost twice, knocked out by Steve Erceg, submitted by Cody Durden. 2023, didn't fight. 2022, lost a fight of the night, won a fight of the night, got knocked out to end the year. So it's been all over the place for Matt Schnell, but he's fought in a lot of tough guys. Rob Font, Alexander Pantoja, Brandon Royval, Steve Erceg, as I mentioned. And Joseph Morales, by the way, was the winner of the Ultimate Fighter. So Matt Schnell is a tested veteran. I'll say definitely the submissions get the better of him, but also like the knockouts. Like his chin isn't that good. I don't really know how he's still even fighting the UFC. He's 1-4 in his last 5, so we'll see what happens when he takes on Alessandro Costa. And Alessandro Costa is just trying to redeem himself. He's kind of been the guy where he can defeat lower-level guys but runs into trouble against top-level guys. Fights out of Legacy MMA / Brazilian Warriors. I know Diego Lopez has floated in and out of that gym. He's, 12 of his 15 wins by finish. Of his 5 losses, knocked out 3 times. He's gone 3-3 in the UFC, and he's fought some tough guys. So, Season 6 Dana White's Contender Series wins. His debut is against Amir Albazi. Goes to round 3, gets knocked out. Follows that up by knocking out Jimmy Flick. Then drops a decision to Steve Erceg. Then knocks out Kevin Borjas. Then gets knocked out by Alden Correa. And then in April, knocked out Stuart Nicole in round number 2. So, history would tell us Matt Schnell should get the victory here, going like win, loss, win, loss, win. But no, I'm going to go with Alessandro Costa to get it done. There's a reason he's the favorite in this one, and that's because there's no business of Matt Schnell fighting in the UFC anymore. So, axe him out of here. Goodbye to, I think, Matt Schnell. I think this is going to be his final fight in the UFC. Next up, light heavyweight, Iwo Baranowski versus Junior Tafa. I know I have to be analytical here, but guys, I'm going to write down Iwo Baranowski's name on my pick sheet because there's no way he loses. And, I say that a lot. But the only way Junior Tafa wins is if he can catch him. And from what I've seen from Iwo Baranowski, there's no catching this guy. This guy already has a strength of schedule ranked at number 4. Like, that's just how often he's fighting. I don't actually know if the strength of schedule on Tapology. I don't know if that should be high or low, but he's at a 4. I actually don't know. What's Bilal Muhammad? 76? Oh, strength of schedule should probably be high. So maybe Arabodowski has only fought bums, but it is what it is. He's minus 260 favorite. I actually thought that'd be higher. The Juggernaut Junior Tafa is plus 215. I stand corrected. 3 inches in height for Junior, about an inch in reach. Both are 20, actually 29 for Junior, 27 for Iowa. Very interesting here. Barnowski, who's 8-0, and I believe all of those victories have come by finish. All by knockout? No, he's gotten 2 subs. Okay, other 6 by knockout. Fights out of Warsaw, Poland, and this guy went 10-0, by the way, in his amateur career. Was supposed to take on Billy Elikana. Unfortunately, Billy got injured. That's how it works out. This guy fought on Season 9 of Dana White's Contender Series. 22nd knockout. Debuted against Aibo Aslan. Minute and 29 seconds of pure chaos. Fought in March, knocked out Austin Lane in 28 seconds. So Iwo Barnowski has just been knocking boys out left, right, and center. In fact, he has never left round 1 in his entire career. The longest fight he's ever gone to is 3 minutes and 10 seconds back in 2023, where he got an armbar in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. So this guy's crazy. This guy's an animal. And here he goes against Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa picked up a win over Kevin Christian in May. Knocked him out 2 minutes, 42 seconds. So shout out to, Junior Tafa. 7 wins, all coming by knockout. Of his 5 losses, 4 of them he's been finished in. And, he's gone 3-5 in the UFC, just hasn't done the best, But his losses, Marcos Joe de Lima, Walter Walker, Tukos was bad. Billy Elikana was bad. He's already 1-1 this year, and he's looking to fight again. So Junior Tafa looking to just stay active, take fights. But Barnowski is going to knock this man out in round 1. I will take that to the bank. That Barnowski is going to knock this guy out in round number 1. So bet your money, bet your house on Barnowski. Guys, trust me, Iwo is the winner of this one. After that, bantamweight division, Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell against Santiago Border Boy Luna. And it was not supposed to be Santiago Luna. It was supposed to be Victor Henry. So this is actually a much tougher test for Bryce Mitchell. Bryce is 18-4, Santiago 8-0. 1 inch in height goes to Bryce, 4 inches in reach go to Luna. Bryce fights southpaw, Luna fights orthodox. A 10-year age gap separates these guys. Luna was born in 2004. Bryce was born in 1994. Bryce is the favorite at minus 155. Santiago Luna is the plus 135 underdog. Bryce Mitchell, we don't have to dive too much into the Arkansas native, but since moving up to bantamweight, or since dropping down to bantamweight, I should say, kicked it off with a win over Said Nurmagomedov. Cannot beat that. Last loss was Gene Silva, might I add. Had some grappling matchups and to round out 2025. Actually grappled Gene Silva to a draw earlier this year in March, which was funny. So, Bryce Mitchell, he's a grappler at heart. The game plan when it comes to his style of attack. At featherweight, I just want to point out the only 3 guys to beat him are Ito Pura, Josh Emmett, and Gene Silva. And they had to knock him out, essentially, to do it. So, Bryce Mitchell is not an easy guy to beat. He is pretty talented, and we'll see how Santiago Luna can do. Santiago debuted last year, knocked out Quang Lee, fought earlier this year, and dominated Angel Pacheco. So, Luna's on the hunt, man. He really is. Fights out California, Entrom Gym, same gym as we mentioned with Edgar Cherez. Went, I believe, 3-0 amateur before moving up. 7 of his 8 wins are by finish. He's already 2-0 in the UFC. But the reason I'm picking Bryce Mitchell is merely because I just think this is too much of a jump for Luna. I give him props for taking this, but I just think Bryce is going to grapple him. I don't even know if Bryce can get the submission. He should, realistically get the submission. But, I'm going to give the nod to Bryce Mitchell here. Seems like the correct decision. And I'd love to see Bryce Mitchell get on the mic afterwards. So that would always be fun. But Luna, you go out there and knock out Bryce Mitchell. That's exactly how you do to kickstart your career. So should be fun. That's a good matchup. Looking forward to that one. Next up, lightweight division. This one I'm pumped for. Fair Zayam, Tom Nolan. The winner of this is going to be moving up. Now, Fair Zayam, I didn't realize this. They put him in at number 15. They are 14. Number 14 now. Wow, Fair Zayam ranked at number 14. at lightweight, as he should be. Farzam has been on a roll. Minus 300 favorite. He's 18-4. Tom Nolan's 10-1. That's why he's the plus 245 underdog. 29 for Zayam in age. 26 for Tom. 1 inch in height for Nolan. And 2 inches in reach go to Farzam. And for Farzam, 6 straight wins. This dude, the Smile Killer, his nickname, has been on a roll. He's actually 8-2 in the UFC. Last loss was Terrence McKinney 4 years ago. Since then, defeats Michael Figlak, defeats Jai Herbert, defeats Claudio Puelles, knocks out Matt Frivola, defeats Mike Davis, and then to round out 2025, knocked out Nazim Sadiqov. So, Farzam, man, fights out of Lyon, France. Dude's a killer. 11 out of his 18 wins by finish. 4 losses. He's been submitted 3 times, but this dude hasn't been submitted in 4 freaking years. So, he's hungry. He's ready. But Tom Nolan is a formidable opponent. Props to Tom for even getting this fight, because I thought Farzam was going to fight up, and instead he's having to fight down here. But Nolan's on a little 4-fight win streak of his own. He's from Brisbane, Australia. 5 wins by knockout, 1 by sub, 60% finish rate. Recently finished Charlie Campbell to round out 2025. Other than that, went 2-0 in 2025. Went 2-1 in 2024. Only loss was to Nicholas Motta, which I just think he was a bit green and was caught off guard by the power there. But Tom Nolan has since looked good, especially the Charlie Campbell win was impressive, but there's just no chance I'm picking against Farzam. Farzam is looking to bring glory back to France. And as we discussed earlier, it's the year of the French. Year of the French, and Farzam is looking to make an impact. So give me Farzam over Tom Nolan by knockout. Take it to the bank. I'm happy with that prediction. Now let's get into the 2 biggest fights on this card. Starting off, the co-main event, maybe the weirdest fight of the year. Brendan Allen, who, by the way, just defeated Rainer de Ritter, is ranked at number 4 at middleweight. Is a guy who's supposed to be fighting upwards right now, is for some reason fighting down against Edmund Shabazian, who has just beaten some tin cans as of late. It makes no sense. No one can figure out why the UFC made it. But Brendan Allen is a minus 230 favorite, plus 175 underdog for Edmund Shabazian. Same height, 6'2", same reach, 75 inches. They're only separated by about 2 years in age. So these two, pretty similar build. Brendan Allen's much more of a striker. Brendan Allen's much more of a grappler. Edmund more of a striker, but both guys can do both. They're both very well-rounded, I'll say. For Brendan Allen, I'll touch on this guy first. He's beaten Rainer de Ritter and Marvin Vettori last year. All right, his loss was to Anthony Hernandez. Last 2 losses, by the way, Anthony Hernandez and Nazim Ivov. Before that, Chris Curtis. Before that, Sean Strickland. He's really only lost to the best of the best. And trains out of Killcliff FC. He hails from Covington, Louisiana now. 20 of his 26 wins by finish, 14 by sub. Big submission guy. 14-4 in the UFC, and this guy has a really good resume. He's taken out a number of guys you'll recognize: Kevin Holland, Kyle Dawkins, Sam Alvey, Andre Muniz, Paul Craig. Actually avenged his loss to Chris Curtis by defeating him in a main event, and had a fight of the night against Marvin Vettori last year, and the win over Rainer de Ritter was really impressive. So I don't know if they're trying to just get Edmund Shabazian to the top for some reason. They're hoping he knocks out Brendan Allen, but hands down, I'm in on his nicknames, all in, and so far I've been all in on Brendan Allen. He's also very cocky, which people hate, and I kind of like him for some reason. Now, for Edmund, his opponent, trains out of Extreme Couture, same gym as, Sean Strickland, a number of other fighters. He's from Vegas. 3 straight wins. Okay, 3 straight wins for the Golden Boy. Now, they've been over Dylan Budka, Andre Petroski, and Andre Muniz. Okay, went 3-0 last year. Great bounce back after losing in 2024. But, it's tough to place why this fight's being made. It really is. It really is tough to place it. And Edmund's a finisher, too. 14 out of 16 wins by finish. Of his 5 defeats, he has been finished 4 times. He's got 9-5 in the UFC. He did pick up a win last time in October, similar to Brendan Allen. Was supposed to have a fight against Jun Young Park in April. That fight did get canceled. So he's not going to get back to it, but I am going to go with Brendan Allen. But whenever they make fights like this, I always get skeptical, and I'm like, wait a second. What do they know? Did Brendan Allen get worse and Edmund Shabazian get miraculously better? I don't know. I really don't. But at the end of the day, I see Brendan Allen landing a takedown, getting a submission, whether rounds 1, 2, or 3, I see that taking place. So give me Brendan Allen over Edmund Shabazian If Edmund does get the win, though, I will not be that surprised because they're not giving this opportunity for nothing. But if he does go out there and get squashed, it'll make everyone probably be even more weirded out on why this fight was made. But let's get into the main event of the night, ladies and gentlemen, as the number 5 ranked Belal, remember the name, Muhammad, takes on the number 11th ranked Gabriel Maratina Bonfim. Yeah, good matchup here. Happy it's being made. Happy Belal accepted a fight down, and happy we're giving Gabriel another opportunity after winning his first main event. So, minus 150 for Belal, plus 125 for Bonfim. Odds are very close. 37 years of age for Belal, 28 for Bonfim, so a 9-year age gap. Both men have always traditionally fought at welterweight, 6'1" to 5'11" in favor of Bonfim, and they both have the same 72-inch reach. We'll start with number 5 ranked Belal Muhammad. Remember the name, love him or hate him, he has proven himself to a lot of people. From Chicago, Illinois, the city I hail from. Now, of his 24 wins, 5 KOs and 1 sub. Yeah, this guy is not a finisher. Only been finished once, by the way, of his 5 losses. He's gone 15-5 in the UFC, and he actually lost a grappling matchup on RAF in December. Fun fact. Last year, not a good year to Belal Muhammad. Lost his belt to Jack Del Maddalena, then lost the decision to Ian Gary. But before that, he'd been on a crazy run. I think it had been a 10-fight unbeaten streak, 9-fight win streak. This is the guy who went out there, defeated Damian Maia, defeated Wonderboy Thompson, defeated Luque, defeated Sean Brady, defeated Gilbert Burns, and defeated Leon Edwards, proved everyone wrong, and truly did win the welterweight belt. But, he's just always had a chip on his shoulder for some reason. Belal is he has a style to him. He's a very boring fighter, very just, rudimentary boxing, goes for a takedown. So we'll see the method of approach here as he takes on Gabriel Bonfim. And I do want to preference that in July, he's actually slated to wrestle at RAF, which, by the way, is like Real American Freestyle, one of the hottest wrestling things. It's like its own promotion, against Ben Askren. That's right, Ben Askren, who almost died, I swear, not even a year ago. And now he's wrestling. That makes no sense. So Belal Muhammad is just in lose-lose scenarios everywhere he goes. This is Gabriel Bonfim's time to strike and get some good clout here. So Bonfim is ranked at number 11. He'll be coming into this one in his 2nd straight main event. 4 straight wins for Bonfim, who actually trains with his brother at their own gym called the Bonfim Brothers out in Federal District, Brazil. Of his 19 wins, he has 17 finishes, 4 KOs and 13 subs. His only loss was a knockout to Nicholas Dalby in 2023. Last year, can't write it much better. Submits Chaos Williams, defeats Wonderboy Thompson in Nashville, and then in his first main event, knocks out Randy Brown with a nasty knee. Man, good year to beat Gabriel Bonfim. And, so far in the UFC, he is 6-1. Only loss was a fight of the night where he just got too carried away. Gassed himself out against the veteran and suffered a defeat. But this guy's been around for a while. His only decisions are against Wonderboy Thompson and Angelusa. So, other than that, every other person has fallen to him. It's been a tough year to make the jump, but, there's just nothing fun in picking Belal Muhammad. It's just such a lame pick. So, we're going to go with Gabriel Bonfim. I also like that he's an underdog. There's something about him being an underdog, which is just so appetizing to me. And his hunger, I think, will propel him forward. If he really gets in the face of Belal will crumble. When Belal finds success, it's when he's walking a guy down. Okay? And the times that he's lost is when, Jack Del Maddalena walked him down, when Ian Gary walked him down. Other than that, when he pretty much walked Leon Edwards down to win the belt. So just keep the pressure off him. Bonfim's a good wrestler and a striker as well, and I do think he will defeat Belal Muhammad. So give me Gabriel Bonfim over Belal Muhammad is my official prediction for the final fight before the White House card. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll conclude today's episode. Those are your UFC Vegas 118 predictions, your little, World Cup preview. You also get some new fights to discuss. So a lot of fun stuff to look forward to in the world, and I'm doing well on my job search. I passed my first interview. It went awesome, and hopefully I will be done working this little construction gig. So the world is looking up, the podcast is looking up, and I hope all of you are looking up to the sky to praise God. That's all I got to say. So, ladies and gentlemen, have an amazing weekend. Have a great life, and I'll catch you next time on the Surprise Jab Podcast.